Chapter 12, Mishnah 5. The Mishnah lists instances of writing for which there is no biblical liability. If one wrote with liquids that make a temporary mark that is black, or with fruit juices that make a temporary mark of some other color, or if one drew letters in the dust of roads or in the powder of scribes, i.e., the dry residue that forms at the bottom of inkwells, or if one wrote with anything else that does not last, he is exempt because one is not liable for the malacha of writing unless the writing is permanent, though it is still rabbinically prohibited. The Mishnah lists cases of writing where the writer is exempt for other reasons. If one wrote with the back of his hand facing the writing surface, or with the writing instrument held by his foot, his mouth, or his elbow, or if he wrote one letter next to writing, i.e., he wrote a letter next to one that had already been written, or he wrote on top of writing, i.e., he traced over two letters that had already been written in order to refresh them, or he intended to write the letter ches, but he left out the middle of the letter and thus wrote two zayins instead, or he wrote one letter on the floor and one letter on a beam in the ceiling, or he wrote two letters on two walls of a house that are not next to each other, or on two columns of a ledger that are not next to each other, and in the last three situations, the letter cannot be read together because of the space between them. In all of these cases, he is exempt from liability. A. In the first group of cases, writing with the back of his hand facing the writing surface, or with the writing instrument held by his foot, mouth, or elbow, the person is exempt from liability because these are not normal ways of writing. B. One who writes one letter next to an existing letter is exempt because he did not write two letters. C. One who traces two existing letters is exempt because he did not create new letters. D. One who writes two zayin letters instead of a ches is exempt because he did not intend to write two letters. E. And in the last group of cases, one letter on the floor and one on the ceiling, letters on separate walls, letters in two separate columns, the person is exempt because he did not write two letters that could be read together. The Mishnah cites a dispute. If one wrote one letter with a mark next to it to indicate that it is an abbreviation for an entire word, Rabbi Yoshua ben Besaria rules that he is liable because it is as if he wrote the whole word. But the sages rule that he is exempt since in reality he wrote only one letter.